Hello there, everyone. You're very welcome to the Unislim Masterclass. I hope you can hear and see me loud and clear. I'm so excited to be here today, and I'm so thrilled that you're joining me. So thanks so much. Before I begin, just a little bit of Zoom housekeeping. I just want to let you know that if you're live here right now, maybe you've never been on a webinar before, the only person that you should see is me, all right? Everyone's camera and mic is off. However, it's very interactive in the form of the webinar chat and the questions and answers. How's my reception? Give me a thumbs up. Hopefully it's okay anyway. You know, with the internet can be a bit hit and miss. So, like I said, I want us to use the chat function. So as I have you, pop it in the chat. What's your name and where are you from in the country? I would love to know, I'd love to know where you're all from. So I did a little poll there. And so we've got, most of you are members. Some of you are thinking of coming back. And a small percentage of you so far have never done Unislim before. And you're just curious as to how it all works. So I tend to do this class once a year. Now, when Unizoom first began back in 2020, I used to do it every month because we had so many people joining. And of course, since COVID, a whole new industry has kind of, developed with online coaching. So I have a lot of, no, I'm not going to be able to read out all these messages, but you can all see each other's, I assume. So we've got people from Waterford, Galway, Laois, Dublin, Offaly, every corner of the country. So you're all very welcome. Now, the questions and answers tab, right? If you have a specific question in relation to the plan, you can pop it in there. I'll keep an eye on the chat, but with the questions and answers, I'll take a look at that afterwards. And if anything hasn't been covered, I'm going to send it to you afterwards. So for everyone and I'm delighted, we've almost 100 people here, and I'm sure there'll be more that will come in, which is fantastic. And this is going to be recorded, so you'll get the recording, along with the discount code. If you're thinking of coming back, I have a discount code which I'll email to you, which will save you 20% off the 3-month membership. And with the 3-month membership, guys, you get the books posted as well, which is fantastic. And if you go with the 3-month option, you're signed up until the 2nd of January. Nothing wrong with that. So it's great to have you all here. We have 110 in here now. The pressure is on. So maybe you're brand new, maybe you're a member of mine already. If you've never done Unislim before, and maybe you're just curious how it all works. Either way, you're all very welcome. All right. And I just want to say now, obviously, there is no obligation here whatsoever. This is completely free. I'll only be sending you one email, and that's afterwards to, give you the recording. There's no hard sell here, all right? And I think, and I thought, why not share it out to everyone and tell people how wonderful Unislim? It's an incredible approach to weight loss, and I think you're going to really love it. So I want to give you a little bit of background history on myself. I'm a leader with Unislim for the last just over 6 years. It feels longer in one way. I know that's a good thing or a bad thing. I have 3 kids. I have a 17-year-old, and I have an 8-year-old and a 9-year-old. And I started Unislim after my youngest was born, Lucy. And I lost 5 stone with Unislim at that point. And without sounding over dramatic here, it did change my life drastically forever, losing that weight. Because I spent my life trapped. Like I know you can identify with this, in a never-ending cycle of fad diets, always looking for the latest quick fix, always feeling self-conscious. As a kid growing up, I was the biggest in the class, and I finally got a handle on it for the last time that I joined Unislim. And I really genuinely did get a handle on it. All the light bulbs were going off, and I think, I realized that there was no quick fix and there is no cure. I always say this to my members, there's no cure. We just have to manage it. And I know it's a bit sobering, but I like to keep it real. That's the truth. And for Unislim, I suppose for me as a foodie, it was brilliant. I found it absolutely fantastic. It was the most sensible, supportive, family-friendly way to manage my weight, to lose my weight and then keep it off. Now I've had a couple of bumps on the road, as we all have, but I'm, overall, I've done really well in, keeping the majority of it up. I never went back to, my highest weight, I was over 16 stone. And, I think a lot of us can get very hung up on the scales. And I think what we often forget is what we're really trying to achieve is good health, and I'll talk about that in a little bit, a little bit further on. So as I mentioned, I'm a foodie. My passion is food and cooking. And for the last couple of years, I've been working actually directly with Unislim, creating fantastic recipes, if I do say so myself. Do you like the reels that you see online? I hope you do. So I do those, a lot of the food, the food recipes, and then I do the online demos and whatnot. I love it, and I'm a content creator too. So it's been amazing, fulfilling career. But you know what? Being a leader is my favorite part, I have to say. It's almost like a therapy session at the end of the week. And I know my members, if any of you are here, I'm sure there's a good few of you here. Isn't it? We just find every week it's like a little catch up, and we all come away feeling, I take away something from it every week. I have to say I really do enjoy it. So just very quickly before I launch into this, is going to be, I'm not going to be talking about the menopause or anything like that. A lot of people are saying, you're going to talk about menopause weight gain. I will say one thing, whether it's the menopause that's causing your weight gain, whether you need to lose weight because you want to lower your cholesterol, whether you need to lower your blood pressure, whether you've got bad joints and you need to take the weight off listen, all of the aforementioned is, the one thing that any GP will say to your consultant will be, you gotta get your diet right. And Unislim is that. And I'm not just saying that. Like, if you were to go to a top nutritionist in the country and spend €250, the plan that they'd give you would be very, very similar to what Unislim is about. It's about measuring your carbs, it's about eating more fruit and vegetables, eating lean proteins, So, and that's what we do, and we do it in a very supportive way. Where I've had so many people who, there's people down through the years, and they'll leave and they say, I've lost the weight now, I'm going to go solo. And then they'll come back and they'll say, I thought I could do it on my own, but I really need the support. And I always say this, I need the support as well, with my members. There is that sense of just supporting one another, and I absolutely love that. So when you join Unislim, if you do decide to join, you get access to the app where you unlock all the online, and then you'll have all the online features as well. Now, I'm conscious of the fact that not everybody wants to join online. We've got in-person classes, so you can find your local class, and you've got your online classes as well. If you decide to join online, you get all the online workouts, the cookery demos. You can download all the literature in the form of the books and the meal plans, and any of the stuff that we have coming out like every quarter. You'll be able to download it, keep forever, and the trackers and whatnot. You log your weight in the app once a week. So you do that. All right. But a lot of people will say to me, do you mind if I share my weight with you this week? Absolutely. And I can see the overall weight, but I don't hone in. Like, at the end of the day, this is your journey and it's private to you. But if you want that extra accountability, you'll get that, So whichever class you decide to join, if you decide to join, you're going to get a one-to-one support from your leader in your group. You'll get so exactly the way the format is here. You can see there the chat, people are chatting. I'm the only camera that's on. This is what your weekly class would look like if you decided to join Unislim online. It's very interactive, not typically I'd have about maybe 40 or 50 on live, and we'd be chatting away, and I'd call out the comments and whatnot. So it really is great. Plus you get the recording, just like you're going to get this recording. So every week you'll have the recording, so you never need to miss a class. There's no excuses. And then I suppose from my own perspective, and I know a lot of other leaders do this, I'll send little messages of inspiration. I do a WhatsApp broadcast list, and I have a WhatsApp group, and I'll send recipes and bits and pieces just to keep on the straight and narrow. So let's get into it. That's that done, right? I wanted to just let you know, let's talk about the Unislim plan. I must have a look at the poll here and see how many. Okay, so it's actually pretty even Steven as to thinking of coming back, and people that are already a member. Hi, Jackie, how are you? The online class is very good. That's great. So I want to explain really the nuts and bolts of the plan, and how I'm confident that you're going to come away from today having a really, really good understanding on how Unislim works. Okay, so firstly, I want to say that how you approach Unislim is really important. Having the right attitude, having the right mindset when you start off, And I always pull people up on this. You have to believe that you're going to do it. You have to make a decision that you're doing this. rather than, you're sure, look, I'll see how I get on. I'll give it a go anyway. And I know straight away, I'll give it a go is not going to work. You have to have the right attitude going in. You're going to do this, right? Because you want it, don't you? I want it. You want it. We want to be healthy. We want to feel good in our bodies. We want to feel confident. We want to feel energetic. There's so many reasons, and they're all personal to each of us. So you've got to give it your all and make that decision. So that's the first thing I'll say to you. And then there's things that you can do, whether it's an in-person class or online. You're going to attend your class every single week. I remember when I was going to Marion Hughes' class when I first joined Unislim, I never missed a class, ever. Like I wouldn't be organising my hair to be done on a Thursday morning when my class was on. If anything was happening, it was my class. And I prioritized that above everything else. I used to get the children minded, my mother minded for the few hours that I'd be gone or whatever. And that was my time. And I swear to God, it was so important. You've got to prioritize things. And you've got to prioritize your own health. And if you want this, then it's not a case of, you're sure, I'll see if I can't make it, sure, maybe I might get the recording. Either make the decision to attend the class live and make sure that you watch the recording, and if you're and the same goes if you're going to a physical class, you make it your business, and I think by doing that you'll really learn what it means to have a healthy relationship with weight loss, with food, and above all yourself. And it really becomes a path of self-discovery. Well, that's how I teach it in this class, understanding why you do the things that you do and understanding your triggers and understanding, okay, like I had a message just there about a half an hour ago from a girl in my group, and she was like, I know now what the problem is. It's when I'm in work and the goodies come out. And I give her a little tactic. I said, well, look, rather than saying, I can't have that now, I'm on Unislim, just make, you show a little bit of restraint and discipline and say, I'll take home a biscuit, I'll wrap it up and I'll have it later. It's that delayed gratification rather than denying yourself and then feeling, oh God, I really should have had that biscuit earlier on. Do you know what I mean? It's the small little things that you can learn along the way and understand, well, gosh, I know at 4 o'clock in the day I'm starving. So, okay, that's when you need to make sure that you have your high protein snack. And you know what, guys? I think if you really understand how you do things with regards to your weight loss journey, you can do things in a better way that's going to get you the results that you want to get. And it's not a case of just what you eat and how many bites are in this and how many bites are in that, but why you eat, where you eat, how much you eat, and when you eat, and all of these topics we delve into week after week. During our classes, we talk about emotional eating, we talk about menopause, there's so much that we cover. And emotional eating is a biggie, isn't it? I think that's something that a lot of people do struggle with, but that's for another discussion. We don't have time to get into that today. Today, I want to explain exactly how Unislim works, and I want you, even if you've been with me for years, to have a fresh mindset today. So what are we, the 2nd of October? We are 12 weeks to the day to Christmas Day. A lot can happen in 12 weeks. Do you agree with me? Let's have a look at the messages here. Oh, I love the group. Bit quiet the last couple of days, but I love it. Best thing I ever did was sign up for the class. You can eat real food, keep your interest in food, which a lot of us have. Well, I don't think there's anyone that joins Unislim that doesn't love food, let's face it. Helena's recipes have become a staple in my house. That's great. Guys, I thank you so much for all the lovely messages. You can read them there. I'm not going to read them all because I want to get right into it now to explain how this plan works. All right. So what is the plan? What is the deal with Unislim? We all want to lose weight, feel happy, healthy, and comfortable in our own skin. It's not too much to ask, right? Okay. So let's talk about the plan. So like all weight loss plans, the aim is to lose weight through a calorie deficit. And I think it's very important that we don't lose sight of that. We don't ask you to count calories. We do all that in the background for you, okay? And it really does simplify it. And I know you'll see all these online coaches saying, calorie deficit, just do it within your macros. And I know from experience, having dealt with thousands of women, especially over the last number of years, that for a lot of people, if they're just exclusively counting calories, it can lead to a fragmented relationship with food. And they wind up eating food just because they've got the calories left. And they wind up making poor choices. I think with Unislim, because you're not counting calories, because you have the free foods, you're naturally leaning towards better choices. the lean proteins, the low GI carbs, the free foods, which are predominantly all of these fantastic foods that are going to aid your gut health and weight loss. It's a very healthy, balanced plan. And it's important that we don't lose sight of the portions. I'm always very cagey when I talk about free foods. You know, we have to apply a bit of common sense. And of course, we talk about that in the class when it comes to portions. The plan absolutely works, but you have to too if you want to see the results. But that said, I'm very much a case of someone asked a question on my Instagram page. Is it definitely just 3 portions of fruit a day? Because I find if I have that 4th portion of fruit, if I really need it, it'll stop me from binging. So you have to tailor the plan, you know, insofar as it's possible to work for you. So you know that by having that banana at 5 o'clock, and you might have already had some strawberries and blueberries in your porridge in the morning time, you know, that's going to, you know, stop you from making a decision that you'll later regret. So I think it's very important to apply a bit of common sense in it too. But we work together with individuals because, you know, Unislim is a one size fits all, but it isn't a one size fits all because this is something that we can, you know, with the help of your leader, you know, that you can tailor to make it work for you. So the basic principles of Unislim are what? 3 balanced meals a day and 2 healthy snacks. And you may decide that you don't need the snacks, and that's absolutely fine. I always say that to my members. That's absolutely fine. The purpose of the snacks, it's not to have something a little bit of what you fancy, but it's to keep your blood sugar stable so that you're not falling down with the hunger, you know. And many people get to a point, and I always say when you're starting Unislim for the first time, I do think it's very important. Sorry, I'm just looking for. I was thinking, where's my plate? Just give me 1 second. I have a plate here. I want to show you. Can't find it. I have my lovely perfect plate. But anyway, listen, not to worry. I can send you a diagram of it. So where was I? Oh yeah, the snacks. So I always recommend that you take the snacks at the beginning, but then you might get to a point in a while where you kind of think, you know what? I actually am fine. I'm actually satisfied. Uh, you know, and I think that's great. And I think intuitive eating is a buzzword at the moment, and you can absolutely apply that to your Unislim as well. Listen to your body. And that can be tricky at the beginning, and it's something that you just come in time. So in Unislim, I'm sure you've heard of bites. So this is your precious currency to pay for foods that are not free on the plan. So you'll have anything from between 5 and 8 bites per day based on your weight. And you'll find how many bites you have once you put your weight into the app, okay? Once you log your weight. The bites are a daily allowance. You don't have to use them. That's the thing. You don't have to use them. In fact, you can bank them, which I love. It's like, you know, you've got a whole kind of saving system going on here. You can save 2 bites a day, and then, you know, you can have them at the weekend, which means that if you have, say, for example, you have 6 bites a day, that means on a Saturday, if you want a treat, you could have 2 bites saved from the previous week, giving you 18 bites that day. So much flexibility. So in fairness, if you want to head out for a couple of drinks or go out for your meal out, you don't need to be cancelling any plans. All right. And that's what I love about Unislim. Nothing is off limits. It's just a case of balancing it and planning it. As the name of the plan suggests, it is all about balance. People struggle with balance. In fact, sometimes they lose their balance. You know, if I hear one more time, I've fallen off the wagon. But that's where the support of your leader comes in, you know, and that's where I love to support my members and, you know, and try and explain to them that you can absolutely do this. And we're all human. We've all fallen off the wagon at one point or another. But I try to move away from that phrase because I always feel that on the wagon, off the wagon is a bit unstable, you know, and I think we just need to sort of realize that life, you know, we've got to live our lives. Do you know, we've got to live our lives. So that means having the takeaway, you know, every couple of weeks, then so be it. Do you know, there's no judgment. And I always say I pride myself on the amazing friendships, and I really have built amazing friendships with a lot of my members over the years. But sure, I'm living it with them. I'm doing it, you know, and I understand the struggles. There's never going to be a judgment. You know, I am, and any other leader out there is going to be your cheerleader. You often hear people saying, I'll be mortified now, going back to the class, can't show my face. Your leader, and I am delighted to see you coming back. In fact, it just shows determination and resilience that you're not giving up. You are not giving up, do you know? So, yes, I want to be your cheerleader occasionally and maybe your therapist, but I don't charge 80 quid. So let's have a look at the messages here coming in. Fantastic. Oh, there's some lovely. Listen, I really appreciate all the lovely comments, but you know what? There's more than just me. This is the thing. I'm just doing this. I'm sure other leaders out there will do their own master classes explaining how. Because you know what? The leaders all have their own take on it as well. They really do have their own take on it. And what you might connect more with a different leader or a different time, and you say, oh, do you know what? Monday now would suit me. That's the time that I want, or Wednesday is the night that I would love to join a class. So, see how you get on, um so like I said, we've got the bites, right? People on social media, like as I said, asked me to discuss topics like the blood pressure, the cholesterol, and like I said, what's going to stabilize your blood sugar, what's going to help you with menopause, weight gain, what's going to help you with improve your gut health. It's all the same, you know. And I think as a society, we tend to focus so much on the scales that we forget what it means to be healthy. This isn't a plan that's going to have you eating jellies for breakfast because it fits within your macros, right? Like, we focus so much on health, especially your gut health. And I guess, what's the biggest side effect of prioritizing your health and your gut health when it comes to your nutrition? Weight loss, you know. And every single week we delve into all of these kind of topics, that interest all of us. It's not just about what can I eat to lose weight. We've moved on from that. It's really about keeping you, I suppose, entertained, educated, and empowered. And you'll have that self-belief that I actually can do this. I found my tribe, you know. So let's talk about your meals. So, we've got the free food, which I'll go through in a minute. So if you can imagine the perfect plate, I'm going to ask you to imagine it because I can't find the perfect plate. So it's basically a plate, half of your plate with vegetables, a quarter of your plate with your lean protein, and a quarter of your plate with your free carbohydrate. Can you visualize that in your mind? Uh, and then a lot of people ask me about the portion. So like the palm of your hand, they say should be, approximately the size of your protein. So, chicken breast, you've got your like couple of eggs, and don't scrimp on the protein. I'm a big fan of protein, I have to say. Quarter of your plate with your carb, or 60 grams. So you have 60 grams is your carb allowance with each meal. So it can be wholemeal bread. We look for wholemeal, whole grain, multi-seed. Don't get hung up on it. People say, how much grams of fiber per 100 grams? Look, we used to say 6 grams of fiber, and then it was 4 grams of fiber. Just look for wholemeal, whole grain, high fiber. Just that's all you need to do. You don't need to sweat it. As long as you're not horsing into like white bread every single meal time, do the best you can. And I think this is the key, is that people can get very hung up and they want to know exactly, this is exact. And I think if you allow yourself to be flexible, it just becomes more of a lifestyle and less of a, I have to do this because my leader will kill me, So just look for wholemeal, whole grain, multi-seed, high fiber when it comes to the bread, because we all love bread. Who doesn't love bread? So 60 grams dry weight. So, and that goes for rice. So basmati rice is free on the plan, and whole grain rice is free on the plan. It's down to the GI levels and whatnot. And then in terms of potatoes, you can have up to 2 grams, and that's a lot. 200 grams is a lot. I think the pasta and the rice is very easy to overconsume. Does anybody agree with me? Can be really, like, I can remember growing up, like, they're seeing these, like my mother would have the pasta be all over the no wonder I had problems with weight when I was a kid. So I can remember when I first looked at the portion of 60 grams of pasta, I was like, oh gosh, that'll never fill me. But you get used to it. Somebody actually made a comment on my portion sizes. Your portion sizes look really small. They're not small for me. And, maybe going back 8 years ago, they would have looked small. But at the end of the day, if we want to lose weight, we've got to tackle things like our portion sizes, and I think that's really important. So I think it's a case of weighing out 60 grams, sucking it up, and I can guarantee you it'll be more than enough for you in time to come. Can you have eggs every day? Is there a limit for the week? Now, on the Unislim plan, on the balance plan, it does say 7 eggs a week. And that's because I think it was Board BIA, or maybe it was the World Health Organization, go back a few years ago, said an egg a day is okay. I would say to you, like, there is no, like, if you go over the 7 eggs a week as we recommend, there's no bite value on that. My advice to you is, if you're concerned about cholesterol, chat to your GP. Okay, that's what I would say. I can tell you, full disclosure, I had a lot more than 7 eggs a week. I would eat, I could eat 2 eggs a day. Some weeks when I'm in an eggy mood. But my cholesterol is fine. So maybe that's something to speak to your GP about. Then we spoke about the half plate of veg. Now, I'm not saying about having a half plate of broccoli every day. Vary it up. And do you know why we talk about eating the rainbow? And this is something we discuss in class. Because it's not because we want the plate to look gorgeous. Well, obviously, that is nice. But it's because what's really important is that you're getting various vitamins and minerals from different vegetables that will aid your gut health in different ways. So eating the same thing over and over again is really not ideal. You need to have diversity in your diet that's going to give you diversity in your gut, which is going to lead to, really good gut health, which improves your brain function, which improves so many aspects of your well-being and your weight loss as well. So I think that's a really important thing. So when people join, they often ask, like, what can I eat? And it's not so much what you can eat, but how you eat. Eat well and you will feel well. Good mood food, like, eat meat that looks like meat, eat fish that looks like fish, try and avoid. And this is a buzzword at the moment, the ultra processed foods. We all eat processed food. Like, I mean, we eat slices of bread, that's a processed food. That's an ultra processed food. We all do, but just try and limit it. Just try and do your best where you can, right? If you're just constantly going for the ready-made packets, the ready-made soups, the ready-made, jars of sauces, like, look at the ingredients list is what I would say to you. And, like, nobody needs to buy a jar of Dalmio ever, 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 ever. I don't care what anyone says. There's no need for it, So do, and any of the recipes that I share with Unislim, they're all simple. There's very few recipes that I share in Unislim online that take more than 20 minutes, 25 minutes. That's the truth. Let's have a look. Can you over exercise? Does it affect weighing? Is that the Sinead Kennedy? I know, I wonder. Sinead, this is the thing about exercise. I suppose, like anything, there can be disordered eating, and there can be disordered attitudes to exercise. Yes, I think that you possibly could over exercise. Now, I don't believe that it can affect your weight. I mean, let's just call a spade, but it can affect, I suppose, it's that all or nothing mindset. If you do too much of something that is not necessarily sustainable, that you pack it in and say, I never want to see the inside of a gym again. Do you know? What does happen, and I had a lady this week, couldn't understand it. She was doing all this spinning. My head goes into a spin when I think of spinning. I tried it once and nearly fainted. But anyway, she just thought she's brilliant at the exercise. She couldn't understand that she was up. And basically, the reason why she was up on the scales, and this is a proven fact, when you're doing a lot of exercises, all of a sudden, your muscle fibers tear. And they tear. That's how you build muscle. And that's why you get that DOMS, delayed onset muscle soreness. So you get that soreness in your muscles. That's your muscle fibers tearing, and they retain fluid as they repair. So your body is retaining fluid after exercise. That's why you see a gain on the scales. And so many people get so annoyed about it and so disillusioned. So I think knowledge is power, isn't it, guys? So again, this is something that we would talk about a lot in terms of the exercise. Been with Helena 3 years, never really knew how to eat healthy. This is a lifestyle. And I always talk about that. This is a lifestyle. And as I know it's so cliche, it's a lifestyle, not a diet, but it is. And I always say that when you make peace, and that's what it actually is, when you make peace with the fact that this is something that I need to do for the rest of my life, and you can absolutely do it very well. I mean, come on, most of you follow me on let's say my Instagram or whatever. Like, I love my life, and I love food, and I love drink, and I love all of these things. And you can do it. It can happen. But good mood food, eating the vegetables, eating, a balanced, unprocessed, insofar as is possible, because it's the ultra processed foods, it's the loads of alcohol, it's all of these things that are contributing to weight and ill health, without a doubt. Like, you talk about the obesity epidemic. And people say, oh, it's because of, we're not moving as much. It's because of processed foods. And and anyone that's from my class will know how strongly I feel about this. Don't get me wrong. As I said, can enjoy processed foods like anybody else, but it's the ultra processed foods on a regular basis that's causing that. And plus, we get so used to this kind of taste sensation that everything has to taste like a fucking Dorito, has to have the crunch. It has to. Not everything needs to blow your mind in terms of taste as well, but we've become used to that. Oh no, I couldn't eat natural yogurt; it's too sour. Oh no, I couldn't have that Meridian peanut butter; it's too whatever. So to the point where real food isn't cutting it for us. We need it to be ultra processed. Think about that. Think about that. These foods are very addictive. So that's why I'm always trying to encourage people to eat well and to eat food that is going to serve you in your journey to health. So with each of your meals, you have a carb allowance. So we've spoken about that, you have the 60 grams. All in your balance book has a comprehensive list of the free carbs. So like I said, the whole meal, whole grain, high fiber. And I explained about, I used to say 6 grams, but then I'd have people that have bread that's 5.5 grams of fiber per 100 grams of the bin in it. Do you know what I mean? So we've got to apply a bit of common sense. Cereals like Weetabix, bran flakes, shreddies, no added sugar muesli, all free, 60 grams, right? The rice, the pasta, the couscous, quinoa. I love using grains. I love using lentils. Lentils are considered a free protein with Unislim. So choosing these healthy carbs over the white bread and the chips and the pastries and the croissants and all that kind of stuff, that's what's going to boost your heart health, stabilize your blood sugar, and help you lose weight. All right. And all of these are free. So you can see now why we ditch the calories. Well, we don't ditch them. We do all the work behind the scenes. You're naturally going to be making better choices. And like I said, the only exception with these carbs is spuds, 200 grams. So now that we have an understanding about the carbs, let's move on to the other free foods. All your fruit and vegetables are free. Half an avocado is free every day, which is great. No need to be scared of avocados. If you choose to have the other half of the avocado, it's a half bite. All your lean proteins are free. And so be really conscious of choosing like the lean proteins, like, for example, the 5% fat mince. Have you ever looked at the calories at the fatty mince versus the 5%? It would shock you. So if you want a steak, you're going to get like, a sirloin or a fillet. Pity about you. And you know what? If you want to have the ribeye, have the ribeye, but you're going to be given bites to it, and we can work out the bites for fattier cuts. And that in our new version of the balance plan, we definitely, which will be coming out in the next year, we'll update it and include more of those meats as well. So there's a very, very few proteins, really, meat proteins that require bites, like lamb, duck, goose, those kind of things, like feet or the skin. Like, obviously, if you're going to be having a chicken breast, it's going to be skinless. But if you really want the chicken skin, have the chicken skin, but you're going to be giving it a bite. All fish is, I love fish. All fish is free in its natural format, which is great, like prawns, scallops, tinned fish, like I love tinned tuna. All of those are free, which is fantastic. You get some of those tinned fishes in tomato sauce, which are gorgeous as well. So then, if you're vegetarian, lentils, butter beans, chickpeas, kidney beans, black beans, all of those free. Free. That doesn't mean I'm going to be eating 4 tins of them a day, right? I would always say, like, half a tin, if that was your main protein, would be great, would be excellent. And plant-based is something we all need to be doing more of. I'm actually more conscious now. The next batch of Unislim online demos that I've coming out have a lot of plant-based meals as well. Protein is your friend. So I want you to really think about getting it into your snacks as well. All right. We've spoken about eggs, dairy. We have a rule with yogurts now, right? With the dairy, which happens to be the same with so yogurts for ready-made soups and tomato-based sauces. Are you listening now? 60 calories per 100 grams or less is free on the plan. So if you find a yogurt that you really, really like and it's less than 60 calories, you don't even have to worry about the bites of it, okay? Cottage cheese is free, which is really making a comeback. I don't know how I feel about it, but it is very high in protein. I think that's why it's making so much of a comeback. So the fat-free Greek yogurt, I'm always harping on about the Fage yogurt, Fage. I think that's how you pronounce it. The best one out there, in my opinion, anyway, because it's so high in protein and it will keep you full. Skimmed milk, free on the plan. 400 mils of low-fat milk, free on the plan every day, or 200 mils of full-fat milk, free on the plan. I can remember years ago, we all did our stint in other weight loss clubs. Can't have full-fat milk. I can't. No, 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 no. You put the thimble of it into your tea. Isn't it amazing the way we can really sweat the small stuff? So 200 mils is free on the plan. And if you decide you want another 200 mils, you're given it 2 bites. If you have another 200 mils of the low-fat milk, it's just 1 bite. All right. But I always say, like, if you're somebody who likes a milky coffee, get the skimmed milk. That's free and it foams up really, really well. There's so many store cupboard ingredients that are free. And if you saw my pantry, well, first of all, I'd probably be mortified because it needs a good clear out. But I've tins of tomatoes coming out of my ears, tomato puree. I've every spice and herb known to man, every kind of mustard, every kind of vinegar, every kind of stock cube, all free. Fish sauce, rice wine vinegar, Frank's hot sauce, sriracha, tin tomatoes, no added sugar relishes, low-fat salad dressings under 20 calories per tablespoon, spray oil, Marmite, Vegemite, my favorite, lemon juice, lime juice, all of these free. All of it free. And that's all in your balance plan. I'm just want to read your messages here. Sorry, no. How do you measure 1 bite? Okay, I'll get to that. Sorry, no. This is very interesting and informative. Great, Deirdre. Is weight loss quicker if you have 40 grams of porridge? See, this is the thing, right? No, I don't think, like, look, at the end of the day, if you're going to drastically reduce your, now I will say about porridge, 60 grams is a lot. So is the weight loss going to be drastically quicker if you suddenly went from 40? No, it's not, Harry Geraldine. But it's small, it's kind of a combination of lots of different things that will actually make a difference. Do you know what I mean? I really believe that. But if you find that having your 60 grams of porridge in the morning is keeping you satisfied, I'd be saying, have it. You're entitled to it. In terms of, like, if you were to pull it back to calories, how much are you actually saving? Probably not a lot. Homemade granola for breakfast with feta and fruit, would the granola be okay at 60 grams? Now, that would be something that you would need to give bites to. However, there's always a way around it. A tablespoon of seeds is free every day. So I don't know about you, but if I make my own granola, like I'm making it with lovely seeds and, and like, to be honest with you, you would absolutely be able to do it very, 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 in low in bites. But I will say that granola, it does have bites, okay? But muesli doesn't. And that's because muesli would be slightly less because it's predominantly made with oats, whereas a granola would be with nuts and seeds, which are high in calories. Now, we do have a nut allowance, which I'll get to in a moment. But I love that feta yogurt. How do you measure 1 bite? I get to that, Sandra. What about the flavor salmon? I don't know what you mean, Sarah. You might let me know. Most soups are 400 grams. If under 6, how much of the tub is free? The whole tub, Geraldine. The whole tub is free for the 400 grams. How much cooked potato can I have when cooking for all the family? Well, I have found, Sarah, that 200 grams of potatoes, cooked or uncooked, is pretty much the same. Unless you're chipping it. So if you think about it, if you're throwing chips into the air fryer that you make yourself, they're kind of becoming a bit more dehydrated, so they might lower down a little bit. But if it's mashed potatoes or whatnot, same, I've noticed anyway. Would you replace sugar in cereal? Sorry, I'll word that better. Can you use sweetener for cereal, or I use sweetener? Zara, I use sweetener myself, and I know I'd love to do without sweetener in my tea. I'd love to do without it, but I do love it. So yes, I would. And then let's say I do use honey though. I do use honey. Helena, when you cook a pot of rice for the family, what is the amount of cooked weight? Again, I'm not, do you know what? When it comes to pasta and rice, it does vary, right, guys? Because it depends on how much you cook it. So if you, it depends on how much you cook it. If you really overcook your pasta, it's going to absorb more water. But we did do something recently. Lisa, I don't know if you're here, but we did do something. There was a kind of a pasta gate going on in terms of what it is cooked and uncooked. My advice to you, or anybody, if you're wondering, right, the next time if you really want to get a handle on this, weigh your 60 grams uncooked and cook it, right? And then weigh it when it's cooked. And then you'll know going forward. In Tesco, you can get sweet chili salmon and black peppered salmon. Are these still free? Do you know what, Sarah? Just on the side of caution, in case they've a lot extra oils and whatnot, because I don't have the calories in front of me and I can't see them. I always think you're just safe to go for like a half bite. If it's just like a little bit of pepper, then come on. But like, that's something you can discuss with your leader, and you'll be able to show it to them. They'll say, "Here, that's free," or "It's not free." Is it okay to have a sandwich with your carb and free fillings if you're having a tub of free soup? Now, a very good question, Rachel. A very good question. Delighted to see you here, by the way. I always say you have to really. Oh, what's that? How are you? I recognize a few names. Um, Sorry, Melissa, I didn't spot you. I think it's you. I think I know you. But anyway, so Rachel, I always think when it comes to having a soup and a sandwich, I feel personally speaking, if it was me, I would feel that's really big, right? But then for some people, they need that. So I think it's a case of see how you go. Like for me, a bowl of soup would cut it. And I think what happens is, the more when you lose weight, then your appetite will shrink, and you wouldn't be able for a sandwich and a soup. But at the beginning, maybe do try it. But if you find that you're not losing weight, maybe you need to address it and do maybe you know half a sandwich or half a cup of soup with your full sandwich. Is it okay? Sorry, no, there was another one there. No, something about my sugar. I'm curious. Try drinking tea without sugar or sweetener. 70. I know, Eva. That is something that I really want, and I love my tea, but I'd only have maybe 2 cups in the day. Anyway, I better motor on because I don't want to keep you here all night. So we've spoken about the free store cupboard ingredients. I hope you're getting a handle on all this now, guys. Am I making sense? We've got oil. So you can have a teaspoon of oil free a day, or the spray oils. Now, I'm not talking about fry light. I wouldn't do that to you. I wouldn't do that to you. Just oil in a spray container, right? Olive oil, rapeseed oil, whatever it is, free. Because you're controlling the amount of it. You're not doing a Jamie Oliver glugging it all over the place. So that's free, and that's what I use all of the time. We also have a nut or a seed allowance, which you can use instead of your oil allowance, because obviously nuts are very good for you. And obviously olive oil is very good for you as well. So let's just say you haven't used your oil allowance, um, 12 almonds or 18 pistachios or a tablespoon of seeds. Do you know all of these? Fantastic. And on your porridge or whatever, the peanut ryu, which I've just put up on Unislim online, I've given that a half a bite for a teaspoon simply because it's not all oil. When you think about it, the peanut ryu has chili sediments in it, and nuts and seeds and whatnot. And I think a teaspoon of that for half a bite is more than enough. And my God, does it transform your stir fries and your eggs? I love the stuff. It's really nice, Helen. You're going to love it. Medjool dates, one of those is free, right? Or 4 small regular dates. We need to be drinking 4, or sorry, not 4, 2 liters of water a day. How are you with the water? Are you good? And you know what? Herbal teas are great if you want to splash a no added sugar my waddy. But I love my water on its own. I went and I invested in a soda streamer, and it's the best investment I ever made. I do love my bubbly water. Somebody asked me, how do you work out a bite? If a food in your heart and soul isn't free, let's just say it's a biscuit, right? I know that's a bad example. Or, curry paste that has lots of oil in it or whatnot. One bite is equal to 75 calories, or 75 calories equals one bite, and you round up in halves. So if you have an item that's 100 calories, you give it a bite and a half, only if it's not a free food. So like it's a biscuit or it's cheese or that's not listed and you're not 100% certain. That's how you work it out. And it's always works. My favorite rule, right, is the cookbook rule or the ready-made meal rule, which you're all familiar with, which is, I love this. 400 calories is free on the plan at meal times. You go into a shop, oh my God, I'm after forgetting my lunch. You can pick up a sandwich. The sandwich comes in at 450 calories. You give it a half a bite. So 400 calories is free on the plan, and then it's one bite per 100 calories outside of that. You can also apply that to something that you cook yourself. So, if you're following a calorie counted rule, and I often do it when I create recipes for Unislim, sometimes I work out the overall calories and I'll work it out because, people want to have risotto or they want to have gnocchi, and these obviously are starches and carbs that need to be bited. And I don't want to be putting people off and saying, oh, well, that's going to cost you 8 bites. No one's going to do it. So the 400 calorie meal rule or the cookbook rule, but you have to be very, very, very specific, no cheating. All right. And that is for the whole meal inclusive, outside of vegetables. You can add as much vegetables as you like. Isn't that a fantastic rule, guys? Now, don't abuse it, and I don't want people going off having McDonald's and saying, Helena said. Obviously, again, like everything else, I'm trusting you to use a bit of common sense around this as well. Bonus bites, lovely. You can earn an extra 15 bites a week. So, for example, a 30-minute brisk walk can earn you 2 bites. One bite if it's more of a stroll. 30 minutes of hill walking is 3 bites. And you can even earn 1 bite for 30 minutes of rigorous housework. So, it's absolutely fantastic. Now, personally speaking, I never look at exercise, even though I haven't been able to exercise for a long time because I've just been diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis. But I'll be fine. I'm fine. I've started new medication, and I feel like I have a new knee since it was drained. But anyway, I'm looking really excited about getting back doing exercise. I used to walk for Ireland, literally loved it. For me, and I don't know about you guys, I used to do the headspace, the fresh air, the me time, listening to my podcast. I used to love my yoga, things like that. So you can earn extra bites, but for me personally, I'd rather just say, do you know what? That's my exercise, and I love that. I like to have a good relationship with food, and I don't like to sort of look at either exercise as a punishment or as that's just me personally. But you've got to make it work for you. That's really important. Is tin fruit free? Good question, Claire. And how are you? Yes, it is. As long as it's not in syrup, if it's in its own juice, absolutely fine. Is it still only 12 grapes before I have to bite them? No, we did away with that rule years ago, Sarah. Don't eat a bunch of grapes unless they're pressed. I'm only joking. The best advice I've taken you from Helena is using my bites to add flavor to my meals instead of using them for treats. And I always stand by that. So I do think it's really important that if you are making your food delicious, by using it, for adding some cheese into your dish or a dash of cream or a bit of Philadelphia or whatever it is. Like, you're less likely to feel, oh, I need something nice because you've already had something nice for your dinner. And I always say that use your bites to elevate your food so that you love what you're eating, so that you don't feel like, oh, I'm doing the Unislim. No, I'm doing my Unislim. I feel empowered. I feel fantastic. I'm able to eat all this amazing food and still lose weight. So to recap, 3 meals a day, balanced, 2 healthy snacks if you need them, 2 liters of water, a healthy carb allowance with each meal. If you decide you wanted wholemeal bread for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, your prerogative. If you go over your allowance, or if you use your carbs as snacks, you're dipping into your bites, okay, which is absolutely fine. You got a dairy allowance, you got an oil allowance, you got or nut allowance. So much flexibility. You can save a maximum of, wow, Sinead, soya cream is an amazing alternative. I never knew that. I'll have to look at that. So 2 bites a day you can save, so that you can enjoy your food without feeling any guilt. We do not do guilt in this group. Am I right, girls? We don't do and boys. It's mainly girls though. We don't do guilt. Okay, we're spending our bites, elevating our food. We're having a treat at the weekend, not every single night, right? Because if then it's not a treat, then it's just an entitlement, and then it becomes a habit, and then it becomes something you need. So we're having a treat occasionally. And I suppose, this will keep you nurtured both physically and emotionally. And you can earn extra bites through your exercise if you want. So we've got a few rules to remember. We're going to weigh our carbs, guys. Okay. That is important. And you'll get used to it. You'll get used to it. Deirdre, here's your sister. I'm not great at drinking the water. I definitely think that herbal teas are great. I find the herbal teas really good, and experiment with them. I used to think herbal teas were just like for hippies. But I absolutely love them. And it's a discipline like everything else, Deirdre, too. I do believe that the water sometimes, like I'm pretty bad, but it is a discipline. So we've got the next rule, which is the soup, yogurt, tomato-based rule. It's just to simplify things, make it easy for you so you don't have to think about it. 75-calorie rule. If it's not free, and if you're not sure, 75 calories equals 1 bite, okay? The ready-made meal rule, 400 calories free at mealtime. If it's 100 calories above, it's a bite. And you can apply that if you're cooking something, but obviously you're going to be sensible. And then finally, we've got FlexiFast, which we encourage everyone to do. And we always refer to FlexiFast as the game changer. Kitchen is closed. It's a discipline that is so good for your gut health, stabilizing your blood sugar. It takes the what will I have now? Away, you take the option away, and you go to bed and you look forward to having a good night's sleep and looking forward to your breakfast the following morning. Wholeheartedly will recommend Fast to everybody. Um, so guys, I think I've covered everything. I'm going to go through your questions in detail. And I'm going to go through the webinar chat. Anything that I haven't answered today, if you have any questions now, let me know. Maybe I might just open the Q&A here. Struggling with binge eating, going through the week and making a mess of it at the weekend. Well, Carl, you're not alone. Everybody's an emotional eater to an extent, you know. And I always say that emotional eating and binge eating is a spectrum. It starts with emotional eating and comfort eating, and it can get very easily out of hand. And through your Unislim class, with the help of your leader, you know, we have lots of tips and tricks and I suppose support to be able to help you to navigate that. So then, hi Helena, I have my Unisim class finished on Saturday, so don't know what I'm doing now. I've been calorie counting, it's done my head, and now I'm afraid. See, this is exactly what I'm talking about. I'm afraid to eat fruit for fear of wasting calories. This is exactly why Unislim beats them all, you know, because I don't want anyone to fear eating proper food, you know. So, guys, that's everything. I'm going to put a very comprehensive little email together for you, which will include obviously the recording, and I'll answer all of your questions. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as me, and I will send you that code. It'll probably be tomorrow before I get to it. And if you want to join, I'd be delighted. If you don't, I hope you took something away from it today. All right, everyone. Thanks so much. Have a lovely evening. Thanks, guys. Take care. Isn't that just so lovely? Take care, everyone. I better go now.